guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Soph. This is your host, Sophie. Today I have on a super exciting guest. This is Gwen Jones, or Gwyneth Photo on Instagram. I'm so excited that you're doing this with me today. I'm so excited for this episode, and I thought that we could start with a little bit of about you, where you're based, what you do, just give us all the details.
Yeah, like she said, I'm Gwen from Gwyneth Photo. I'm based in Michigan. I live in the central part, but I also like to go all over, like Detroit, West Side, up north. I love it all. I would just go all over Michigan all the time if I could. It's my favorite state ever. It's so underrated. I love it.
It's
Has some
beautiful
great
up there.
spots. Yes, I just love it so much. I started photography about 2.5 years ago, and I was in college. I just had like a camera just from childhood, and my friends were like, let's go get Instagram pictures with it. And so we went out and took pictures, and at the time, I was not interested in photography at all as far as like a career path. I never thought of that as something that I would ever do, just because it wasn't like an option for me as a kid. Like Instagram wasn't really that big of a deal until I was like in middle school, and growing a business on there was like not even heard of. Like that was not even a thing.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
photography at the time, like now it's so like social media based, but at the time it was like just like digital copies or whatever. I don't even really know. At the time I was just a kid, so I have no idea.
It just wasn't what it is now.
I
Yeah,
just know it wasn't like it was today. Uh,
we
but like,
know.
yeah, it's all we know, and I'm not really sure. But I feel like now it's kind of grown to be something completely different. And so like as I've gotten older and kind of see like on social media people posting things and posting photos, like that kind of became more of an option for me. But really not until I started doing those photos in college was I really even interested in it at all. And I just loved, like, I've always loved editing my pictures for like my own personal use. And so it came really naturally for me when I was changing that into like my like photography posts and stuff. And I was started editing like on Tezza when I started doing shoots. I kind of like just really went full steam on Tezza. I loved it so much. I still do. I would still use it if I could, if it was acceptable.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's not.
It's just,
I wish it
unfortunately
was.
not. Unfortunately, it's not. Really, really true.
I wish. I would still use it if I could, but I like loved doing that shoot with my friends like when I first went to school, and then after that I started doing like just to get spending money for like Starbucks or like clothes or whatever I wanted. I would like do shoots on the side just for like $40 a session. And college is a great place to start a business like that because you have like all of your friends are in the same area as you all at once. You're dating people, you're getting engaged. Like a lot is happening in the college space that like isn't really happening at home necessarily.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
that like density.
Yeah.
And so it was like ideal. And I was like the only photographer that was really doing that. Besides, I have my friend Portia, who's truly great at photography. Shout out Portia, she's great. And she like is now in similar circles as me in photography, which is crazy because at the time it was like we were kind of also close in that way. And
Yeah.
our styles were a little bit different where we weren't like competing. It was more like of a collaboration. And I kind of learned a lot from her and how she grew her business and kind of
Absolutely, yeah.
learned to do them on my own. And so like I said, like college is a very dense like group of people who really want photos for Instagram. They love it. And so for me and her, like
100%,
it was,
yeah.
yes, college people love photos. And so it was very ideal. And I felt like for me and her, like the supply was really, really, really low and the demand was really, really high. So that was really great for both of us.
100%, yeah.
And then I was still charging like $40, like really not taking it that seriously until I did my first wedding about like a year, 9 months in, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I was like, had to invest in Lightroom for that because Tezza wasn't gonna cut it. It wasn't working.
We had to get rid of the Tezza.
Yeah, Tezza was gone. It's so sad. I love Tezza. And I had to just kind of learn Lightroom and kind of take it more seriously. And that's kind of when I realized like I actually love this as a career, not just as like a hobby on the side. And I started like seeing something I could actually make money off of. I could travel with
absolutely.
it, and then also just like create art for a job like that. I think that's insane that we do that every single day. Like we're able to just like get creative and have fun, and like we're getting paid for it. Like it's crazy. I feel like I would do it for free
cool.
sometimes. Yes.
It's so awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
And
awesome
like,
that we get to do this every day, and it's like truly just
yeah.
we just get to wake up and we just get to make art, and that's not something that you ever think that you could do until like you start doing and you're like, no, this is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never like saw that as like really an option because again, like I said, like there wasn't like a lot of the things I was seeing that was like, here's something you could do, and it's like can channel like your creative side, but also like you can have, if you're business minded, you can kind of tie those together. And so like when that was open to me, I was like, oh my goodness, like I love this so much, and I am able to, like, I just became a mom recently, so like I can balance this with like motherhood. I can like make my own schedule. I can be home with my daughter, but also like be able to go out and do shoots like for a limited amount of time. A lot of my editing is at home, so I'm able to like, it's a great job for a mom, I think, as well. Like you're able to kind of do
100%.
both.
And your
Yeah,
little
so
girl, she is so precious, guys.
thank
Her little
you.
baby, Frankie, is like, what, 5 weeks old, almost six
Yes,
now?
almost six.
She
It's
is just the
crazy.
most
Yeah.
precious little baby ever. And I think that it's so awesome that you truly are balancing both. And I just want to preface this, guys. We have had some connection issues, so we've done this like 3 or 4 times now.
We
Um,
have.
so we're just here. We already know all the things, but
Yes.
she has been truly balancing motherhood so gracefully while
Thank you.
also running a business, and I just think it's so awesome that you truly have not taken a break, really, that I
No.
think that you told me before that you shot another session 2 weeks postpartum. And I think that
Yeah.
that is like genuinely insane. And I know that you're truly just a rock star. I can't
Thank
even,
you. I
that's the
wouldn't
only
recommend it
words.
to anyone. I'm not saying you should do that because it sucked.
Not a
But
recommendation, guys. Just what
not a
happened.
recommendation. I feel like, I took some time off in May because she was supposed to be born in May, but she was born in June. She was a little bit late. And so I thought like, oh, I'll have time to like, regroup, heal, whatever. But then she decided to come take her sweet time, which I love her. She's great. But like, I
She was
definitely should
nice and
have,
cozy in there.
waited. I second shot a wedding at 3 weeks, which was like even
Wow.
crazier. I felt like that
Oh
was
my God.
insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not recommend that. It was not ideal. But again, like, like this is our busy season. We can't really take a time off if we want to like keep growing. And I feel like she's obviously my number one priority, and I would put her first before anything else. And
Oh
so
yeah,
that kind of
absolutely.
has changed my mindset of like what I'm booking in the future, but I can't really go back and like take away things I booked already. Just because people do book
100%.
really
Yeah.
far in advance and you really can't know like what's going to happen. And giving birth is like such like you have no idea what's going to happen. So I feel like I had no idea when she was going to come, so I couldn't really schedule things around her arrival when I don't even know when her arrival is going to be.
Exactly.
So that was kind of insane. And so now, like, being a mom with her now, like, now that she's here, I feel like it's kind of changed my mindset of like how much I'm willing to travel. Like, I still want to travel with her. I totally, but like little trips, like 2 hours, 3 hours to like the west side of the state up north, I'm like definitely picking and choosing and being very like specific of like what shoots I want to take up there, because it is like a sacrifice to have to like either leave
100%.
her
Yeah.
or bring her with me and have to like coordinate all of that with her, which like again, so worth it. And like my husband has been really great about it, like kind of going with me if he needs to, or like supporting me that way. So I feel like that's been really helpful because I definitely couldn't do it by myself. And I feel like having to travel in that way, like I love doing, and I'm used to just like every day driving 4 hours, like 2 hours there, 2 hours back,
Yeah,
and like
literally,
not a big
literally, yeah.
deal. And now it's like, okay, well, I actually have to like think about this, and
You have
it's
like a little
affecting more
human that
people.
you have to take
Yeah,
care of. Yeah.
it's affecting more people than just myself.
Yeah.
So like, it's definitely been kind of
100%.
a sacrifice in that way, but like otherwise I feel like it's been so fun. I can't wait to like bring her along when she's a little bit older, and like I just think it's going to be great. And I think again, it's a really great job for a mom because you're really only working like in person like an hour at a time, or for weddings like one day at a time. And then the rest of it, like the back end of it, is like either the initial like marketing and like social media, all of that, client relationships are all done online, and then the editing of course is done online as well. So like that stuff can be done at home. I can be with her, hang out with her all day, and then like give up like
Yeah.
an hour of my time to go shoot. So I feel like it's really
You can be
ideal
really
for,
present with her. Yeah.
yes, totally.
Without
Yeah.
feeling like you're losing out on any. I just think that that's so awesome. And you just balancing in and going head on and not taking any,
Yeah.
continuing to show up online, show up for your clients. I think that that's really awesome. And
Yeah, because Instagram
I
doesn't
know.
take a break. You don't get like breaks on social media, unfortunately. And I know that sounds superficial, but it really is like our storefront. Like that is like our portfolio, our storefront is all on social media. So like even though it seems like that's dumb, but like it really is like how we grow our businesses as photographers
Yeah.
and
And if we
showcase what we're
stop
doing.
if we stop what we're doing and we stop showing up online,
Mm-hmm.
then people stop seeing it and they
Yeah.
stop responding to it and they
Mm-hmm.
stop booking. And that's unfortunate, but it's just kind of our way of things. And so I
Yeah.
think it's really cool that you know, still every day are like, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna be the best mom I can be, and then I'm gonna show up for my business and my clients and take that head on. So I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Um, so we're gonna do a little bit of a Q&A today. We both posted on our stories, asked you guys for some questions. So we'll just kind of take turns asking and answering, and I think that it's gonna be really fun. So Gwen, I'll let you start, and then we'll just kind of like ping pong back and forth
Yeah,
on
for
topics.
sure. Okay, so I got a question about motherhood, so I'm gonna skip that because we kind of covered that already. But I also got a question asking how I deal with people close to me asking for like cheap photos or discounts, and then also asking me to edit differently than I normally do. And that can relate to like how you balance those friendships, but also with clients asking for discounts or different editing styles. So I was gonna ask
100%,
you
yeah.
first, like what you think about like how you deal with that in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say for me, so I've been doing photography for anybody who doesn't know. I've been doing photography for about 5 years now. So a lot of living and a lot of learning. And I think that I'm kind of at a point in my business where I'm quite firm on my things, the way that I do things, my offerings. So for me, unless I have a really select group of people that they have like a friends and family discount, whether that's family
Yeah.
members or really close friends. But besides that, like my prices are my prices. And as goes for editing, I think that for us, we're storytellers, we're creatives. This is our entire identity. And in asking for anybody to kind of change what they have centered their brand around, is something that I just don't 100% love. So for me, I'm very firm on my editing and my process and the way that
Yeah.
I do things. And sometimes I might be a little lenient. I might, move and change. But if somebody came to me and they were like, I'm really not feeling the whole warm vibe, can you like tone this way back? I would be like, no, this is my
Yeah.
style. This is kind of what you get. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it happens more than I think that we
Hmm.
would like for it to happen. Um, but I do think that there is a level where there's some terminology centered around photography, and I'm not sure that as clients, everybody 100% knows what they're saying when they're asking for it, and sometimes that can
Yeah.
create a little bit of confusion. But for me, I'm a little bit more, at least in my old age of a ripe 20 years old, 5 years in, I am really just like a stickler. Like, this is how I do it, this is my
Yeah.
process. And you
Hmm.
either come with that or you go and find somebody that fits your budget or what you're
Yeah.
wanting a little bit better. So
And that's the great thing about having like a portfolio that's so public and such on like a big social media platform is that like what your editing style is and like what you do is so out there. Like you really just need to look at everyone's pages, and if you don't like their editing, please don't book them because it will save a
please
lot of
don't.
heartache for you and the photographer later.
100%. Yeah,
Because yeah, I
absolutely.
totally am, I'm with you. Like I feel like too, like I'm constantly fighting with my own editing all the time. Like I'm constantly feeling like, oh, is this photo too dark? Is this photo too warm? And I'm always overanalyzing every single photo. And I don't love every photo that I give out. Like I feel like there are some times where I'm just like, I just have to give these to them, and like if they like them, I'll be so happy. But like genuinely, I'm like not super confident in them, which happens like maybe one or two photos out of a whole gallery I feel that way about. And so it's like,
100%.
but I just have to send those. And it's like they always are like, oh, I love them, that's great. And I'm like, why was I so stressed? Like that, all that matters really is that they love them and it's fine. But like still, I'm like a
Exactly.
perfectionist. Like I want it to be
Oh yeah.
perfect, and I like
100%.
really, really take a lot of time going through every single photo. And I think that's somewhere where people like asking for those discounts, asking for different editing styles. Like it's not as easy as just like slapping a filter on. Like there is a lot of like different things that go into each photo and making each photo
It's a
great. So it's like
big
you really have to.
process.
Yeah, and I
It's a
think too,
really big
like
process.
balancing those like client like and friend relationships when it comes to like discounts as well. Like there is a select group of people, like they know who they are, they're gonna get free photos from me every single time. And like other than that though, like the list is very short. Like I'm like very firm in my prices. I think too, if you want people to like respect your prices now, you really have to stay firm in them, because if you backslide, I think it will let people kind of get the idea of like it's going to keep going down and then you're never going to have like bookings of your actual pricing. I also do like
100%. Yeah.
encouragement to like anyone out there that's like having people ask for discounts. I was getting asked for discounts like when I was charging $40 a session. So like literally like
The
please
40
don't feel
bucks was too
bad.
much, guys. It was too
It was
much.
too much. It's like, and people were like, how can you charge $40 for about 200 photos? I'm like, guys, like, like, oh my word, it's crazy. So
Come
please don't
on.
be discouraged. Like it will happen at
No.
any price point. People are gonna who are gonna ask for discounts are always gonna ask for discounts. You just have to be firm.
100%.
And like, of course, like I will do once in a while, like a creative free shoot or a discounted shoot. But like, I've also learned that like the more that I do those, the more people are expecting those to come around and kind of wait to see if those come around again. And so I really am selective and I kind of am more proactive in asking people myself to do free shoots than like,
Oh, me,
I've kind of,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, instead of like kind of putting it out there, if I do that, it's very rare. I will most likely just ask people that I want to shoot with to do something for free. But like, again, I think thankfully like my family and friends like don't really ask me for those discounts, thankfully. But like I know it
Luckily.
happens. Love
Yeah.
them. They're great. They respect my business and like support me, obviously. But like I know it does happen. And I think it's like hard because you're like, oh, they're my friends. Like I don't want to make them upset or whatever. But like they have to respect your time that you're putting into it and your business. Like if they're your friends, they're going to support you and want you to grow. So it's not helping you
100%.
grow to do free shoots all the time,
No.
unless it's
No.
like for creative
Yeah.
purposes.
And I think that like kind of backtracking on what you said, there's a level of like respect when it comes to your
Yeah.
brand. And we have spent so long really being meticulous on what we did, what we know we want to get paid for, what our worth is, feeling confident in what we're charging, because I think that
Yeah.
something sometimes people miss the mark on is we are only one person. We are only
Yeah.
one person making every decision, making every final call, sending out all the invoices, all the contracts, all the communication, posting
Yeah.
online. We are just one girl doing it all.
We're
And
just
we're
girls.
already, we're just girls. I'm just a girl. And at the end of the day, we're literally having to make all those decisions. And it's scary to raise your prices wondering if people are going to book, standing firm in what your,
Yeah.
decisions are, because you don't have a boss above you that you're going to saying, hey, so and so wants a discount on this. What do we do? And they're like, stand
Yeah.
firm or give them a discount. It's up to us to make that decision. And I think it's already nerve-wracking enough for us to put our pricing out there and say, this is what I feel like I'm worth for my art. And for people to come back and kind of challenge that, I think can
Yeah.
create a lot of room for discouragement and just kind of taking a look at it and be like, well, am I really worth this much? Because if people are coming to me thinking that it's not worth this much, there's just kind of a lack of respect and a lack of trust between
Yeah.
client and photographer. That's like, clearly you don't feel as if what I put into my business, because it's more than just standing in a field taking some photos. There's so much behind it and there's so much
Yeah.
love behind it too. And I think that it takes all of that away when somebody's like, hey, I really just don't feel like it's worth this much. Can you do it for a discounted rate?
Which is
Because
so
we don't have the
bold.
budget
It's
for
so
it.
bold.
It's really, it truly is
Guys,
so bold.
I know we're on in the internet and we're hiding behind screens, but please, like, this is
we
craziness.
can be
I
better. We can
know.
be better. And nobody,
Yes.
you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't go into a restaurant and you wouldn't say, hey guys, this meal, I just really don't feel like it's worth this much money. I don't feel like this
Yeah.
steak is worth $30. Can I have it for less? You would never
No.
do that. And for whatever reason, it's slightly more normalized when it comes to photography. And I hate
Yeah.
that. But I also think for anybody listening who may be new, just stand firm, stand your ground. And
Yeah.
if they don't book you, then they weren't the clients for you. And
Yeah,
I
you don't
think
want to deal with people, yeah, that are going to ask you for discounts. Like those people, like, are probably not the type of people that you want to work with, because if they're going to push you on that, they're going to push you on the next thing's going to be like when you're delivering their gallery, when you're how you're editing their photos. Like it just is going to be snowballing. And I feel like when you give a little bit, it's going to open the door for them to kind of like just ask for everything. And it's just not your ideal client. And your prices are your prices, and your ideal clients are going to book that. And if they're not going to, if people aren't going to book you, they weren't your ideal clients, like you said. So you really
100%.
want to like kind of wait it out for those like perfect people to come around, because they will. It just isn't going to be like, there's going to be a lot of like push and pull of like you kind of waiting, talking to people. It might not always work out. They might ask for discounts or whatever, but like eventually they will come around. It just takes a lot of like confidence building on your end, and also like kind of having a strong back and a strong foundation of like, this is what I charge, this is what I'm going to do, and like not feeling sad every time like people are asking you for discounts or asking you to change your editing, because it is personal. Like I think editing too is like that is the artistic part of it. Like I mean, I know posing and everything is also art, but like that's like the like
That's the
art is
main,
like
that's the art. That's how you
deal.
create the
Yes,
art. Yeah.
yes. And so like it's very personal, and I think like when people are criticizing that or asking you to change it, even I don't think people are being like malicious or trying to hurt your feelings like
No.
most of the time, but I think like it can be very personal because you're like,
It's
well,
still
like,
hurtful.
it's still
It's,
hurtful. Like
yeah.
I put my heart into this. I spent hours upon hours like staring at these photos and trying to make them perfect. And it's like when people are disappointed or like don't want what you had or want you to change something, like again, please book people that you like their editing, please, because that's number one.
We're
That's number
asking
one.
you, please do your research. Please take your time. Please
Yeah.
really get in depth in everybody's portfolio and understand. I think another thing is clients understanding why they like somebody's work.
Yeah.
Is it the posing? Because if it's the posing, but it's not the editing, then there might be somebody else who has similar posing, but they edit a bit more towards the style that you'd prefer. Or, you know, is it the editing? Is it a mix? Is it somebody who's just, is it their personality that they have, the persona they have online about their business and their why and all their things? Or it's just taking your time, really searching through people who you possibly want, and really just taking an understanding of why you like their photos. Because it can be really hurtful when people come back and say, well, I really just don't like the way that this looks. Or they say, can you make it brighter? Can you make it darker? Can you change your skin tones? Can you edit a completely different style than anything that you've ever put out there before? So to anybody
And I
who's
would
new,
say too, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you could, no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, this might be a hot take, but like, please, I feel free if you feel like you like what I'm doing, but you want something slightly different, ask me for a recommendation. I will recommend someone that is going to fit your style, because I see so many photographers online all the time. I feel like I know everyone, like, it's my job to, which it is. That's great. But like, I know everyone's style. I can look at a photo and be like, this is Sophie's photo, because I'm like, I know you're editing. Like, I know what you do.
That's me. I could pick out anybody out of a lineup. I really could.
And I'm like, if you tell me like, oh, I want this, like, I can tell you exactly who to go to in our area. Like, it's fine. I'm not going to be offended by that. I think that's great. And I think, like, if anything, it saves me a lot of heartache at the end of the day, and you, because it feels like, well, I can help you get what you want, and that way we're not having an issue, or I'm not feeling bad about like what I'm doing.
And we don't have any kind of tumultuous relationship where we're, you know, kind of falling back and forth. Well, I want this. Well, I don't offer this, but you can do this because you can do anything, because you can just stand in a field and take some photos. And it's like, but that's not what I want to do. And that's not the reason why I have the style that I have. So let's go through mine and see. So somebody asked, do you think storytelling can be taught, or do you think that it's instinct? I'll let you start with this one.
I think it's a mixture of both, which I know is a very diplomatic answer, but I do think that that is true. I think that I do retreats, so like I do have times where I'm teaching people like my storytelling style. I think that I definitely shoot. I think also the terminology is very important to understand, because I think that like people quote like documentary, storytelling, cinematic, editorial a lot, and like there's little differences. I will just like run through them really quick. I think that like documentary is like truly not posing. You're a fly in the wall. You're capturing candid the emotions of the day. It really only works for weddings. I don't see a situation where like a couple or senior or like family. I mean, family actually is probably more documentary, but like a couple or senior really can be documentary, because that's so awkward. Just sitting there. Right. I want to see this in real life, because I'm like, how did they do this?
Right?
Like,
can I come and just watch?
I need to see.
I just want to see how you're documenting somebody doing nothing, and I don't understand that either.
It really only works for weddings and families, and I feel like that's great, and I think that that's a whole style of photography. And I think that you can have elements of documentary photography and mix it with other ones. Like you can mix and match a lot. I get that. But like a true documentary is just a fly in the wall. And then cinematic is kind of making things like their own movie. And whether you're pulling inspiration for other movies or trying to fit, like create a couple's movie like on their own or a weddings movie on its own, like telling that story, like I know it's storytelling, but like cinematic is like making it feel like you're in a film and
And
drawing
feel like it's
inspiration from film.
real. It's real life.
Yes.
It's something that would be in
Yes.
front of your eyes. It's not overly bright. It's not overly dark.
No.
Like it's not, it's very lived in. That's to me, like I really
Yes.
like to go for storytelling that feels really lived in.
Yes.
I mean cinematic. I said
Yes.
storytelling. I meant
And
cinematic. We know
then
what I meant.
yeah. And then for storytelling, I think this is what people usually mean when they're even talking about all these things. I would say also editorial as a side note, very posed. Like imagine Vogue, okay? And that can be done in any setting.
100%.
And that
Yeah.
can be also incorporated into any of these. But I think storytelling is like maybe the happy medium of everything. Where like you're actually looking at a couple, you're looking at a person, you're looking at a wedding and telling the story of the wedding. And not adding your own like things from other movies or other things or other inspiration, but telling it as it is. And whether you're guiding them along like a path of like, this is kind of where I want this to end up. We're doing a activity and this is kind of how this is ending up. You're kind of like, it's not like a documentary where you're just like letting them do whatever they want. Like you're kind of setting up something for them and letting the story play out. And so I think that's
Yes.
kind of what people usually mean by that. I would say personally, like I'm storytelling, like my style of like my process is storytelling and then I edit in more of a cinematic way. So I think I have like a combination of both of those. But again, like I was saying, with like education, I was saying, I like people do like I come to my retreats and like ask me about like my style, my editing and like all of that. And I think that the storytelling aspect of like how you're posing in that way like totally can be taught. I think that like by experiencing it in person is the best way to learn because I think that experience in photography, it's such a hands-on thing. You really have to like go out and do it. You can't like sit behind a book or sit behind a computer and like fully get a full experience. So
You
I
have
love
to
like
immerse yourself into
immerse
every
yourself.
single
Yes.
aspect of it. Yeah.
Yes. And like I think for my like, retreats, like that is something that's been really fun. I also have like a teaching background, so I love like like mixing those together. And so
Absolutely.
like that's a way people can learn. But I also think as well like the process of storytelling and the concept of it can be taught. But I think that like being good at it is something that you have innately. I think that's something that you kind of have. So I think that you can learn it, but like actually being talented at it is something that you really need to like have the artistic background. And like I feel like that part of it, like the actual success at storytelling, is something that you have to kind of develop on your own or just already have that creative background because it really is at the end of the day, like you have an eye for it or you don't. And you can go through that whole process and like get better and get better and get better. And I'm not saying you can like never achieve the best or achieve a talent in that way, but like it comes easier for some and it comes harder for others. And kind of understanding that, like if you feel like you're struggling in like into incorporating storytelling, like don't give up. I'm not saying like you're like never gonna reach
You don't
this
have
talent.
this,
Just
but yeah.
shut this off right now. You're done. There's no
You're
photography.
it.
Like,
This is it. You're done. End of the story. We're out.
I'm not saying that. Like I definitely think like people can grow and like that's a reality. Like I'm not saying that's not even an exception. Like that can happen for everyone. But like it's gonna come easier for others than not. And so if you see others like succeeding really highly or like growing their business really quickly or feeling like their photos look so good and they just started, do not be discouraged. Like the concept itself can be taught, but the only way you're going to grow is not through like concept, it's through actually like doing those shoots and
Yeah.
setting yourself up for success by like going out and putting it into
100%.
practice.
Yeah. I always like to say that being teachable makes you unstoppable because if you're not willing to learn, you're not willing to grow. But I do agree with you on the front of some people, you just have it. And I think a lot of storytelling and a lot of photography for any aspect of it and any style is it's the way that you view things and it's the way that you see what's in front of you and you view the world. And I think that you view things a certain way. I might look at a scene with a couple and think, oh, I'd really like it from this angle or this direction, or if they did this certain thing right here. And maybe I'm 100 yards back and they're teeny tiny in the photo. But you might be like, no, I really love them up close. I really want them right here. I really want them to lay down. And I think that everybody's so different, but you really, some of it's instinctual and some of it's like there's some parts of a session where I like look back and I'm like, you know, looking at, you know, like the session as a whole or certain photos from it. And I'm like, you know, oh, I really wish I would have done this. But then I'm like, but no, I really like the way that I saw it this way. You know, it's like, because this is how I saw it. This is how I wanted it to be. And that was just instinctual. My brain wasn't like, oh, well, if I do it this way, it'll be even better. No, it's like, this was how I saw it. And this was why I saw it this way. And I think that you can learn all kinds of things. You can understand how people look at things and why they look at them the way that they do. And you can learn about composition. You can learn about lighting. You can learn all those things, and you can naturally train your eye to observe them in that technical way. But I do think that some of it is like more instinctual. Like this is, you know, something that you just naturally have and naturally see. And but you can learn it too.
Yeah, and I think too there's like that's the whole reason there are different genres as well, because everyone has strengths in different ways. Like I probably couldn't set up an editorial shoot as well as somebody who does editorial photography, because like that's not what I'm used to doing. And also like I don't think I have that instinct of like pose is so vogue. It's so like beautiful in this way. Like I feel like I love what they do. I'm like, how do they make that happen though? Because I don't know if I could do that in a shoot.
I don't know if I can replicate that either. Yeah.
No. And so like if you're feeling like you're not succeeding and you've been doing it for a long time in one genre, try a different genre. Maybe, you know, storytelling isn't for you. Like maybe you're more like documentary, maybe you're more editorial, and maybe you're more like all the other types of photography that we don't even like talk about. Like there's plenty more, you know?
You're everything else in that entire thing that we don't even have the words for today.
So yeah, so true.
So I just think that it's kind of a mix of both. There's not like a yes or a no answer to that kind of question, but I do think that you can learn, but also take it as, I think that there's so much comparison online, and every time we get online, we're seeing another person who's cinematic, who's storytelling, and then it's like, how do I capture things like that? And at the end of the day, you'll never be able to capture something like that because you're not there and you're not them and you're not inside of their brain right here seeing it the way that they saw it, because of literally every aspect of their life, because every single building block of your life is the foundation of how you view everything. And I think that you just have to understand that everybody's going to do something different, but it's okay to do it your way. You don't have to copy somebody else. You don't have to obsess over how somebody else did something. It's like you can take inspiration from that and you can apply it, but also the way you see things is also important. And that's why people are booking you, you know, to begin with, is because they view that and they think that that's important. So
yeah, that kind of leads into like a question I got was about you're saying about how you're like taking inspiration from other people and kind of using that. And the question I got was, how do you stay inspired when social media starts feeling repetitive? Like when you feel like you're seeing a lot of the same things over and over again, and you're kind of taking inspiration from that, but also trying to create your own inspiration and not always just like copy people. So like, how do you do that in your business?
I think that, you know, there's a lot of things, at least for me. I grew up, I've always really loved movies. I've always really loved books. I'm really just, everything inspires me, and I have a lot of just like constant ideas. Like my brain it just does not stop. And so I think that something to kind of break away from the social media element of seeing everything that's repetitive is, I'm a big believer in creative shoots. I'm a big believer in getting inspired by a certain idea, a certain topic, a certain anything. Even if it's like there are some things that like I'll go thrifting and there'll be like a prop, and like I'll literally get an entire vision of a shoot centered around like a singular prop. And it's like, that's how I feel like I stay inspired. Or there's other things like movies, you know, I might see a scene in a movie like on a beach or on a lake, and I'm like, I really think that a shoot in this perspective of them reading by the lake. Maybe they're fishing. Like I really want to do like a fishing session where the guy's like casting and
Oh
she's
yeah.
reading and she's like laying down and he's like over there, and it's something natural. I have not gotten that far yet. Hopefully we'll make that happen this year, but if it doesn't, it's
Yeah, I
okay.
better see that on your Instagram.
I have an idea for it. I have a location for it. I
Yeah.
just have to get a couple and I have to get there. So, but I think just constantly being inspired by your own mind is really
Yes.
important because your mind is your biggest asset. And just, maybe you're inspired by like light coming in the bedroom, and maybe you want to do like an in-home session, a really cozy one, or like I have a shoot planned actually and I'm so excited for it and it's going to be insane. But I have a lake session and the house is like older. It has like the wood paneling. So we have like multiple, like I like to shoot in like scenes like a
Yeah, I
movie
love
would,
that.
you know?
Hmm.
And so like my first scene will be like them in the bed drinking, maybe they're having morning coffee, or like I bought a typewriter and I bought an old like a red phone, and I was like, okay, what if, the phone's on the bed laid out and she's typing on the typewriter and he's reading the paper. Like I bought these vintage French newspapers from like
Oh my word.
early
I
1900s.
can't
They were
wait
like
to see this.
they
This
were
would be so
5 bucks.
good.
They were such a steal. And so like he's reading, the newspaper in the morning and she's typing something, she's writing a letter or whatever the thing is. And then they kind of move to the balcony and they drink coffee on the balcony, and I got mugs and they're going to have like a little pastry,
I
and
love
this
it.
house
Yeah.
overlooks like the lake. So they'll be in like kind of like pajamas, like little shorts and tank tops, and like linen pants or whatever. And then the third scene, they kind of get dressed for the day and they go head down to the lake and they're reading by the water. They're playing cards. They're having like a little Diet Coke by the water. They're diving in, they're floating. Like I have so many
I love it. Yeah. It's
ideas
awesome.
for it, and it's going to be so exciting. But I don't know what really inspired that. I think one day I just woke up and I was like, gosh, I really want to do a lake shoot. And then I have a family friend who has a lake house that really fit the vibe. And then I was like, well, what does the inside look like? Because maybe some inside ones would be fun.
Hmm.
And so then I got an entire vision, and I don't know if my girl knows what she signed up for, but we found the
Good
perfect
photos. What did you
bathing
sign up
suits.
for? Yeah.
She's a photographer, so she really
Okay,
gets
so
it.
she's
And
down for it. Yeah.
they're like
That's
the
good.
greatest couple. I've already shot with them, and so I'm really excited for it. But it's just like some of those natural things really inspired me and continue to inspire me every day, where it's like, oh, I might see something passing by or see, even if it's like food, like coffee or, a pastry, and it's like, oh, that'd be really cute if they shared that in a park or whatever. And so I think, end of tangent, but it's really important to just stay inspired within, kind of your mundane everyday things, and kind of step away from the internet and what everybody
Hmm.
else is doing and really think, what do I want to do? What do I want to
Yeah.
shoot? Like I did
Absolutely.
another shoot with a waterfall, and I knew I wanted to shoot at this waterfall. I've wanted to shoot at this waterfall for years now, and I just haven't gotten to it. And so that was just a shoot that I came up with up here. I had no inspiration. I didn't have a Pinterest board for it. It was like, this is what I want to do, and I made it happen. And I'm really
Yeah.
obsessed with how those came out. So I just think it's important to kind of get creative within your own mind and the things that you naturally view and naturally like, and kind of incorporate that. And just stay inspired by doing creative sessions. I'm a big believer in them. I'm a big,
Yeah, they're so good.
they're
Yeah.
so important. They're just so important for your growth too.
Yeah, it grows your business. It also like tells people like what you want to shoot. And like I think sometimes I hear people that are like frustrated by like I feel like I'm doing all these bookings that I don't actually love. And it's like, how do I get out of this rut of like people booking me for things that like I don't even want to do? And I think to get out of that, doing creative shoots to kind of showcase what you want to do would be great, because people are not going to book you for something that you haven't done yet. And so it's very rare that would ever happen. And you don't really want people to book you for something you've never done yet, because you want to be able
No,
to have
yeah.
that practice behind it. You want to have intention behind it, and you want people to see what you've done. And the bad part of it sometimes, which I was with social media getting repetitive, I think my own social media can be repetitive sometimes, because I see people, I post things and people are like, I want this exact thing that you did on your Instagram, like on this exact place. And I'm like, I know, I get that you love them. I love them too. But like, I also need to be creative and I want to like, have every shoot be a little bit different. And so if I did everyone at the same spot every single time, that would be like so boring. And so
it would be there would be no uniqueness within every
no
session.
uniqueness, no,
There's
no
just
intention
none at
either.
all.
And so it's like, so you kind
Yeah.
of are balancing of like, I want to do creative sessions of like places I want to shoot, but then also, and that will bring people in because they want to shoot there too. But it's like, but I also want to shoot other places. I would also like to say too, this is kind of a hot take, but I see a lot of things online about photographers like hating that people are using Pinterest or other photographers as like inspo. I am actually not against that. And this is somebody whose Pinterest pictures have been screenshotted and reposted on Pinterest like more times than I can count. Every time I open the app, whether it's on my personal or my business account, I see at least 3 photos of my own that are posted by other people, and it sucks. It's really annoying. But I see people that are going to places and shooting things that I have done and I've taken. And I've kind of, even though I spent a lot of time finding those places and finding those locations and those concepts and whatever, I'm not really offended by that. I don't know why. I think
I don't really
personally,
care about that either. Yeah.
I don't really care about it. And people like put such an emphasis of like, you can't copy, you can't do this. And I'm like, okay, if you're copying frame for frame, that's a skill issue. Like you need to like get over that. That's on you.
Literally.
Whatever.
That's on you.
Whatever. And honestly, like I'm not offended by that too, because I'm like, well, you need to be able to make your own thing and like whatever. I don't really care even then. But it's like most people are like taking concepts and like posting and like trying to create their own versions of them. And I get that could be annoying, but imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And I know it's really hard pill to swallow because I hate when people copy me sometimes, but like genuinely, that's how people learn. That's how people grow. And it's like, if you're good at what you do and you're confident, you shouldn't be offended by people trying to see what you're doing and copy it. I mean, that's what like being an influencer is.
How would you get offended by that? I don't really know.
No.
I think that the other thing for me when people talk about Pinterest being something that like you can't copy from Pinterest, you can't, like that's the point of Pinterest, guys.
I know.
Don't put your photos on Pinterest if you don't want people to see them, be inspired by them, save them to boards, screenshot them. Like that's its entire purpose. Like that's literally what Pinterest is for. It's not a social media platform for things to get likes. It's things to create inspiration boards. And so it's like, if you don't want your photos on there, then don't put them on there. And if somebody else puts them on there for you, okay, fine. That's like
me
outright,
all the time.
like,
I'm so annoyed. But whatever, like that happens, and it's like part of being online, part of being a public creator, and like in your own way, kind of influencing people. I know it's not like we're not influencers, but like you are influencing what people are seeing and what they're wanting from their photos. And also, my photos aren't just being used by clients; they're being used for like edits. I've had them used for like a album cover without my permission, which is so weird.
Oh my god,
so crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But like I've had people take my photos and use them for other things or use them for their own like TikToks or whatever. And like if I stayed being offended by that, I would be offended all day long because that happens all the time. This is part of being on the internet. Like people just take things and whatever. There's not really everything's public domain, unfortunately.
And does it suck? Sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know what you're signing up for. You can't complain about it if you've actively put this on a public platform for everybody to view and see and share.
Yeah, and you can only control what you do yourself. So like maybe I'm sounding like I'm conflicted because I do think that like you should try to like create your own things and not copy things that people are doing like frame for frame, whatever. But at the same time, like you learn to draw by tracing, like you learn to take photos by copying others, and like that's just how it is. And like those people are not going to take your clients, they're not going to take your business. Like it's okay, it will be okay.
We're fine.
And
we're okay,
I
guys.
also think
we're fine.
it's okay. And that's an unpopular opinion because I've seen so many people like kind of bash other photographers for like kind of taking inspo from Pinterest, taking inspo from other photographers. And I'm like, there's nothing new under the sun. Like there's no new ideas. There's no new anything. Everything's been on the earth forever. Like since it's been created. So like you think you have a new idea. Someone has had that idea before. I'm sorry. Like there's creativity.
They just have. It's
subjective.
It already exists. It's already been done, or it's already been thought of. Like you
Yes, so
standing in a
true.
field with the sun and a cowboy hat and a dress or, a skirt is not a new concept. And if you're
No.
inspired by a certain posing, I do think that if you're sharing the photos, advertising a type of session that you're wanting to do,
Hmm.
you should specify these are not
Yes,
my
tag
photos.
people.
These are from
Yes.
Pinterest. If
Yes.
you can't find the original creator, say that or make sure you tag them. Make sure you,
Hmm.
are giving credit where credit's due. But at the same time, it's like, how are you? I mean, our entire life is wrapped around being inspired about literally every single thing ever. Light,
Yeah. Hmm.
buildings, like architecture,
Right.
colors. Like it just, if every single thing was on the internet that we couldn't get inspired from, then what's the point of the internet?
I
I
know.
mean,
Yeah, there's no point at all. And like you said, Pinterest is the place to get inspiration from. Like I have a shoot that I really, really want to do on like a dock overlooking like a lake or something. It's like
yep.
similar ideas. It's kind of funny. I
Yeah.
really want to do, I really want to do a lake shoot, but like on a dock, and I have like a really specific idea, and I have a Pinterest board that I've made of like not shoots that photographers have done, but like kind of just nostalgic pictures that I really think that like match the vibe of it.
Hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I really just need to find a couple and a place where I want to do it. But
That's
I'm
the
just
hardest
like,
part is trying to find a couple at a
the idea's
place.
there. I know the idea's
The
there, and I'm just
idea's
like,
up
it's up
here.
there. I know,
But like you're
but
not
like,
the first person
yeah,
to think of a
no,
lake shoot.
no.
And
I
you're
mean,
not
we just
offended that
both
you're
thought
not.
of like shoots. Like it's okay.
I mean, it's summertime. When you think of summer, you think of the lake. Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know,
I
guys. And
know it's
maybe that's just
okay. It
our
will be
that's our
okay.
hot take of the day. But
It's our
I
hot
mean,
take because again, yeah, I see people all the time, all the time. I mean, that's maybe one of the main things I see is people are like taking photos from Pinterest is not creative, da 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 da. Just like being kind of like mean girl energy a little bit because it's like, okay, but like you started somewhere. Like when you started your account, and you're telling me you never went on Pinterest ever, ever,
you
and
never
like
got inspired
what's
by somebody else's
no,
work. You never saw something and thought, I want to do
no,
something similar. You've
yeah,
never thought that. And if you have,
no.
then I want to get a cup of tea that you're drinking because
Yeah.
like
Oh
pass it
yes. And like what's
over.
the difference between that and like copying a movie? Like it's all kind of the same thing. And like you're copying something and like let's just be real about it. Like you're copying something or you're taking inspiration from something. And like again, like I said, people that are learning, copying your work is not going to kill you. It's not going to end your business. Like it's okay. And
It's like
like
we're
they might
fine.
blow
It's
up
just it's
or
it's a
go
nice
viral
form
for
of
it.
flattery.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's okay. Yes. So
It's
yeah,
fine.
that's what
We're
I think about
good.
that.
Like, yeah, I 100% agree. I don't really get caught up in some of those things like I think some people do. I don't think that, to be honest, I don't actually ever think about it. Like, that's how much
Yeah.
I don't care about it. Like, my photos go up on Pinterest, and like, my friends will send me them or past clients will like, they'll scroll through Pinterest and they'll be like, look what I found. Or like, this was the first photo on my feed. They've never searched for photos before on Pinterest. Like, it just
No.
naturally came up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, amazing. That's awesome. Or like, I
Hmm.
have like a girl, I just did an elopement, and her Pinterest board had a wedding photo of somebody who is a photographer in North Carolina that I know. And I'm like, oh my, and I saw the photo and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so and so's photo. Love that. It's like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't send that to them and be like, this girl put your photo in her Pinterest board. Just thought you should know. Like, that's what it's
No. Yeah. Like I
for.
don't. Yeah. It's okay.
I just don't think about it ever. Like, it just, when they go up there, they go up there. That's like, that also kind of ties into, us tagging like feature pages. And for me, I'm kind of like, you want these feature pages to feature your photos, but yet you don't want them to be on Pinterest for other people to get inspired by, then don't tag the feature pages. Like,
Yeah.
that
True.
doesn't compute. I mean, to
There's a
me.
disconnect there, I think. Yeah, where it's
Yep.
just like I think again, I get that it's personal, it is art, and but like like I think if you're so focused on people like copying you, so focused on that, you're just gonna be miserable because at the end of the day, like if you're good, people are gonna want to do the same thing that you're doing. So if anything, it makes you feel like you're doing something right if people are trying to copy you.
Exactly. And be confident in it and know that these people aren't going to steal your clients because the clients who want to book with you are coming to you. And if they don't want to book
Yeah.
with you and they want to go with somebody else, then they just want to go with somebody else and
Yeah.
there's literally nothing wrong with that. There's so many people out in the world. Like there's billions of people. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be fine. You're going to get the clients that are meant to find you. And like that's kind of that. I mean, I don't know.
Hmm.
It's such a hot take that I feel like
Yeah,
shouldn't be a hot take.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Um, so did you ask that question?
I asked the last one. Yeah, it's your
Okay,
turn.
okay.
Yeah.
Not me like losing track.
Oh, it's okay.
Let's see. So another question that I got, well, there's a couple of them, so I'll just group them kind of together. Kind of about like settings, harsh light, um, that kind of thing. What would you say maybe like, tips for people who want to shoot more of a storytelling cinematic way? Are there any
Yeah.
tips in camera that you use that make like a difference for you, or things that you kind of do at every session that kind of helps those things? I know that you love a good sun flare, like to kind of get those, that kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the process of storytelling is during the shoot. I think that editing is so fun. And I think that editing is like my strong suit. But I think that you can't have good editing if you don't set yourself up for like a good base when you're shooting. And so
100%.
I think like I love to
100%.
have yes. I think for like settings, I love to have my aperture really low as possible. Unless I'm shooting for like looking for more of like a glittery, sun flary type thing, I'll have that more at like maybe 8 to 11. So if I'm shooting against water at like golden hour, I want like those glitter on the water. I want like a sun flare or something at that point. I'll bump it up. But usually to have that cinematic look, I like to have it at like a 2.8, kind of 3.4. As it goes up a little bit,
Yeah.
I try to keep it low. And so I get that that might not
Hmm.
always be feasible with lighting and whatever, but like I try to keep it as low as possible. I also keep
Hmm.
my shutter speed pretty like medium. I like to keep it around like maybe 100, 125. Unless I'm trying to get like a motion blur, I'll bump it down to like 50 or 60.
Hmm.
And my ISO is really just whatever I need it to be at the time. I don't really focus on that as much. I'm really focusing more on aperture, on shutter speed primarily, and then kind of going from
Hmm.
there. So I
Yeah.
also really like to use like focus on using Kelvin. I know that people use
Hmm.
like white balance and stuff, but I love to use Kelvin. I like to keep it between like 5 and 6,000, depending on like where what the lighting situation is, where I am, what the weather is like, and that's kind of how I try to achieve that like cinematic look is by incorporating like those elements. I also think
Hmm.
too like the time of day you're shooting is really important. Obviously, like sometimes you can't avoid shooting in harsh light. That's just part of it. Especially for weddings, you have to shoot all day, so you really are
Yeah.
like not able to just be like, oh, it's just too cold in there. Like you have to shoot all day long in a lot of different lighting situations, whether you're inside or outside or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but I do think that like being able to adapt your settings as you go is really important because I can tell you all
Hmm.
day like of my exact settings and people ask me that a lot like what are your settings whatever, and it's just like this is my base, like what I just said is like my base, but like the entire even just for like an hour long shoot I'm adjusting constantly, I'm constantly moving things around depending on like what the situation is, what the lighting situation is. So like I could say exactly like what I'm doing, but like really every photo, every set, every scene, I would say, not every photo, every scene is different, and has different things that it requires of it. And like when I'm wanting to have more of like a motion blur, I'm going to change my shutter speed and really kind of stay on top of like making sure my edits are cohesive. So at the end of the day, they all are like blending well together. But like in the moment, it's like, I mean, my brain is moving so fast of like, okay, change this, change this, change this. And it's like, there's a lot that goes
Yeah,
into it. It's not
absolutely.
just like, oh, set this
There's
and you're
so
good to
much. It's like,
go.
oh, we're just
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, you're there for
Hmm.
the whole entire session. So, do you shoot any, like, do you like underexpose at all? Do you use any kind of filters, like, or do you just, mainly adjust your kind of like your
Yeah.
aperture and where you're putting that out?
I like to keep the exposure a little bit low. I wouldn't say I totally underexpose, but I do try to keep it a little bit low just because I think later in editing it does give you a little bit more room to not have to like have very overexposed photos. Even just like what seems like regular
Oh no.
exposure in editing can seem overexposed. So I try to keep it a little bit
Oh no.
low, but not like
Yeah.
really, really low. And then
Hmm.
what was the thing you asked? Oh, about filters. So you asked?
Do you use any kind of like filters or anything like that, just out of curiosity?
No, I actually don't. Not on my camera. No.
Wow.
which is
Nice.
interesting. I know. I try to achieve sun flares all on my own without the filter.
Yeah.
Um, it's all a Gwyneth Photo, no filters.
It's all you,
Um,
girl. It's all you. You're just that
I
good.
really,
You're just that good.
thank you. No, no, no. I just feel like I've never really had it to use them. I didn't even really know what they were for a while, and then I kind of figured out how to do it without using one. So I felt like, well, if I use one, I might just feel like I already have a good thing going. Like, why kind of change that? Maybe in the future I'll get
Hmm.
one. I know they
Yeah.
can work for people, but I really try to. I mean, I started with like a Rebel camera, like a Canon Rebel, and got the best sun flares of my life on that camera. So like what I have now, I have an R6, but like even then, it's like I can do it without. I'm okay with not having one.
Yeah. I recently that just this year I have seen quite a few photographers recommended, so I decided to just dive in and test it out. But I've been using and guys, I know you're gonna be like, Sophie, you talk about this every time you have a podcast, but I will die on this hill. I started using a ND filter, a neutral
Yeah.
density filter. And I swear it has made such a difference for me. Just in some of those, because it's like essentially it's like like a light sunglass for your lens, and then it has like a dial so you can make it darker or lighter
Mm-hmm.
without having to sacrifice some of your settings. So if I really like my aperture at like 3.5, that's been my happy spot lately. It's been about 3.5, which for me, like 2 years ago, Sophie would have been like, girl, you need to lower that. But for me lately, that's kind of been my happy spot. But sometimes I'm having to sacrifice some settings or bump my ISO up more than I'd prefer, or, bump my shutter up. And I'm like, I just don't really like the way my shutter looks this high compared to my aperture. And so the ND filter really has been so beneficial with that,
Yeah.
because it's really kind of softened those highlights without me having to like do extra work. I will say it's kind of because it has a dial, you're kind of always having to make sure that it's like wide
Yeah, where you
open.
want it to
Sometimes I'll
be.
shoot it
Yeah.
on like sometimes it'll be like one or two depending on how bright it is or if it's like kind of midday lighting. But I will say for anybody who does love a good cinematic look, I do think it's made a bit of a difference just to help with some of those kind of harsh like tones.
Hmm.
But I've not used any, well, I'm sorry, that's a lie. I have the Prism lens. I think that's the company. I have their
Yeah.
half dream filter. I really like that. I actually just shot it with a dual. I use my dual cameras for, which I don't normally do. I normally just shoot on one. At an elopement that I did a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, some of the dream filter will look really nice, like, variety in the gallery. And then I got to editing and I was like, I don't like that. It's such a drastic
Yeah.
difference from like my normal way of shooting from that. And I was like, yeah, probably we'll just leave her in her case and possibly bring her out when it's, necessary. But I think it's so great that you have really found your kind of happy spot in getting those like um, perfect lighting scenarios with what you're wanting. I do think a lot of newer people, sometimes, things are kind of put on the internet for them. What's like, oh, if you use this filter, your entire life will
Yeah.
change and you'll
Hmm.
suddenly be amazing. And it's like the filter can be a stepping stone, but you really have
Yeah.
to know your camera by heart, know its
Hmm.
settings, know why they're doing what they're doing and how they kind of worked together to get kind of the end look that you want. And like you said before, editing is so much fun and it's so amazing. But I'm a big believer that starting in camera is
Yeah,
where it's at. Because if your
absolutely.
raws
Yeah.
don't look the way that you want your end product to look, then you've kind of missed a step. But
Hmm.
that's just my
No,
opinion.
I agree
So
with you. I've heard a lot of good
yeah.
things about the ND filter too. So I'm like, I don't use one like now. Maybe in the future I will get one. I feel like I've heard really great things about it. I think like as far as like my sun flares go, like that's something that I've learned to do without it. So like I would
Hmm.
think it would be might be a learning curve to actually have to get one and then go from there with like
Yeah.
the prisms and stuff. But I know with the ND filter, like I've heard really good things about like it just softening your photos, giving you that like more like cinematic like nostalgic look. I think it's really good for that.
It's
But
like putting on a pair of
yeah,
sunglasses and going
yeah,
out in the lake for the evening. It just like just
hmm,
does what it needs to do and it's been amazing.
yeah,
But I will say I think that you can still achieve that look obviously without it. It just is a
Yeah,
nice
no,
little
totally.
stepping stone.
Yes. It's a tool. Yeah.
Particularly it's a nice tool, particularly
Hmm.
for like it's really helped getting those more direct sun shots with like getting the
Yeah.
detail in the clouds and stuff. I think that's been really
Hmm.
beneficial, but sometimes when it gets super dark, I do have to pop it off because like obviously it's like this is way too dark and I can't change my settings like any more than I already have. So we can go. It's your turn, so we can
Yeah, I
hop
can.
into
I
the
was
next
looking to
one.
see. Okay.
Um,
I was gonna
yep.
ask you. I got a question asking about, do I make every gallery like the same for like consistency, or do I edit based on like what the scene is? So I can answer that really quick because I know like
Yeah,
kind of what I'm gonna
go
say
for
about
it.
that.
Yeah.
I really love consistency because I think just for my feeds purposes, I love that it looks like very cohesive. I think I'm fighting with my feed all the time. Like I think everyone is. You're constantly feeling like it could look better or it looks great
Could
how it
this be
is, but
better?
then
Could this
like
be different? Do these
could it be
colors go together? Do
different?
they
I
not? Yeah.
know. The
So
reorder grid has
annoying.
really been a lifesaver, but also I feel
I
like
don't
it
have
might be
that
like,
feature.
you don't? Oh my word.
No. I have
What?
every other feature and I have updated it. I've done everything and I can't do it.
Oh
But
my
I,
word.
I've
No.
like talked myself into saying I don't need it. My feed's the way that it is. So that's what I'm rolling.
Well, your feed
That's what
looks
I'm rolling with.
great. I
Thanks.
think too, in a way, that it might just like cause a whole like avalanche of like I need to change everything now. Like,
An existential crisis is what I will
yes, I think
spiral
maybe
into.
it's yeah, it's kind of I like having it, but I'm also like, what has this turned into? Like, so I'm getting too
Turned
crazy
into a
about it.
monster.
Yes. Like, oh my gosh. No, I feel like as far as editing goes, I love my editing style. I think that it's again changed a lot. Like we talked about earlier, like going back to my Tessa days, like my Tessa looked like Tessa. But it was again the vibe of the time. It was cute then. Okay. It
It
was cute back
fit. It was the
then. It
vibes. It was
fit.
what
I think it's
it
still
was for
cute
the
now
time.
for the time.
Absolutely.
And like moving forward, I feel like as you can see through my page, how my editing has slowly, gradually gotten to where I am now. And like I don't think like personally I will ever be satisfied with how I'm editing. I think it's always going to be like something I'm constantly hoping to like achieve, not maintain. So I think I'm constantly trying to achieve something and not like, and the consistency is in me like trying to achieve this certain look that I have in my mind. And then every single time I'm shooting, I'm trying to get. And like
Yeah.
it will never be perfect because I feel
No,
like we're not perfect. So there's no way of
not at
like
all.
really achieving that totally. But I think that like each gallery is a reflection of like my attempt at something. It's like my attempt, my edit is like an attempt. And I feel like I want it to be consistent because I want it to like all flow together and I want it to like I want to have a brand of consistency because I think that's the best way to book people. I think that there's certain photographers that really go all over the place and that is their brand though, is that they're all over the place. But and that's what clients like about them. Like they like that they're like very creative and
Adaptable to
unique
that
and
different.
adaptable.
Yeah.
But it's also hard for the clients to know what to expect because you're getting your photos back and you really have no idea what they're going to look like because
Not
every
at
edit
all.
is different, which
Yeah.
is like so fun. And I love that for them. Personally, I feel like as a client myself, I want to know what I'm getting when I'm booking somebody and I want to be able
Absolutely.
to like, I mean, I understand there's like weather issues, scene issues, or things that happen that are like going to make your photos look different. I don't view them as issues. I think that it just makes for more unique photos. But like the edits are going to look a little bit different for those. But like you kind of have a general idea of like, hey, Gwyneth photos are going to be more like on the green and warm side. You know, they're going to have like these tones, like, and I feel like sometimes for some photographers, it really can be all over the place. And that, again, is great for them. For me, I feel like I want to have the consistency. And that's where I think it pulls me away from cinematic in a way and more into storytelling for that editing. Because I think cinematic does have a lot of like diversity in the way that you're editing. But for like storytelling, I do think it is a little bit more consistent. And so I have like elements from both that I'm kind of pulling from. And I want people to see, again, like we talked about earlier, seeing a gallery and being like, oh yeah, that's Sophie's work. Because I know what your editing looks like. I know what your photos look like. And having that like recognition is so important for your brand, for your business.
Oh yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
don't have that, the people are not going to know like you. And that's kind of what you're
Your
trying to
brand
put
has
out
to
there
have
is
an
like,
identity
yeah,
about it. I mean, you have to be able to look at
absolutely.
it in a 100 photos and be like, that's Gwen's photos, that's
Yeah.
Sophie's photos, and
Yeah,
know
absolutely.
like this is what you're gonna come with, you're gonna get
Yeah.
every time. I will say for me, what's interesting, at least I find this interesting, is how I shoot is pretty much the same for every session. Like my settings are around the same, my Kelvin's around the same, and then I use the same base primarily for every shoot, I'd say. Kind of I just start with the same base, but they have a consistency about them, but they all have uniqueness with them too. And so it's
Yes.
like you have to have the brand identity where it's like, you know, oh, this is Sophie's work or this is Gwen's work, but also having that like am I gonna take a, super gloomy rainy session and I'm gonna like bump up the saturation and bump up the
No,
warmth so
yeah.
it match
Mm-hmm.
a sunny sunset session? No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
No.
But they still look the same because it's the same exact process and they have the same
Yes.
consistency about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having that like identity is really important. But I 100%
Mm-hmm.
agree that like I think that your brand, everybody does things so differently and everybody has a different way of, how they approach each session. And if you want to hop all over the place and kind of edit for the vibes, you'd say, then that's absolutely, your prerogative and that's what you want to do. But I do think having that consistency shows clients, well, here's 3 years worth of work of the same exact style and they only get better and better and better. There's no room
Yeah.
for almost like doubt. It's like, am I going to like
Yeah.
these? Am I going to,
It should be an upward
not know what I'm
trajectory and
getting?
not some, yeah,
Yeah.
it should not be something that you're like again, like I said, it's something you're trying to achieve. And it's okay, like if you feel like you're never going to achieve that, you're getting one step closer to it every single time. And like having that
Mm-hmm.
ambition is like, that's how you're going to grow. It sets you apart from
Mm-hmm.
people who are just doing this as a hobby and people who are doing this as a career. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're having the determination of like, I want to make the best photos, not for my feed, not for myself, but for the clients and for what the scene is and giving it the best chance of like the best what is the word I'm looking for, my word, oh, doing it justice is what I'm looking for.
Yes, you're
And
doing
like
it.
and so
You're
like
doing it justice. Yeah.
yes, and I think too like we're capturing like God's creation and like that is the most important like aspect of this is like
Yeah.
like you are taking pictures of things that like have been created and making them beautiful in your image and like giving him glory through that. And so I think like I had a question about asking like how I incorporate like faith into my work as well. And I think that's like the
Absolutely.
biggest kind of like arbiter of that is where I'm like taking, work that I'm doing and doing it not for myself because again, I will never be satisfied in how I'm editing. I'll never be satisfied in how I'm shooting because I'm always striving
Never.
for like the
Never.
next best thing. And
Yes.
that I think is a positive as far as like a business mindset, but also a negative in like as a Christian because I know like at the end of the day, I'm never going to be perfect. I'm never going to have that like full like satisfaction in what I'm doing because if I'm not doing it for the right
100%. Yeah.
reasons, then I'm never going to achieve
Mm-hmm.
that. And so when I kind of
Mm-hmm.
take a step back and like see which again might not be best for my business but is best for like my faith, take a step back and see like I want to capture things as they are, as they've been created, and if it's not fully perfect, I have the humility to understand that like it's okay, like I am doing my best for him, not for myself. And so it's like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of takes it away from like the self and more puts it on God and also like on the people that I'm shooting because I'm doing it ultimately to capture their love story, not my own like
It's not for
desires.
me.
Yeah.
And while you
No.
get to be like, wow, I took these photos at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you want them to be happy. And I think that, the world that God has created is so amazing and incredible and how
Yeah.
every person is so unique. And I think incorporating every bit of that uniqueness into every session, every couple, the way that they look at each other, the way that they interact with one another, the way that maybe it's things that they even just like to do with one another.
Yeah.
It's like capturing everything as is because God made it as it is. It doesn't need to be different. It doesn't need to be altered. It's
Mm-hmm.
perfect just the way that it is. And seeing it from that perspective, I think, can be a really big game changer because if you're striving for perfection within every photo, I think that can become a lot to carry. And it's like, to
Yeah.
me, the
And it makes it
more
an idol, I
the
think, too. Like you
absolutely.
idolize
And the
that.
better,
Yeah.
yeah, you idolize that perfection. And it's like incorporating more truly of the as is and how it's happening in unfolding naturally in front of you, I think is so much more important than, and I'm particular, if I don't think
Yeah.
I really like the way that they're standing, I might move them. But like, I'm also gonna keep those too, and I might have both because I
Yeah.
might not love that pose or whatever, and I might redirect them into something better. But also, that was what they were doing. That's
Hmm.
as they naturally unfolded and interacted with one another, and I'm not going to stop that and change that because it's not the perfect photo or it's not the perfect
Hmm.
composition or lighting. I'm just going to adapt to
Yeah.
it because I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm here for, is to capture every moment
Hmm.
exactly as it is and seeing what's in front of me and trying to constantly change that or strive for it to be a perfect photo. To
Hmm.
me is, it can be a lot to carry, and then you start to
It
kind of
is, yeah.
idolize that perfection, and it's like, well, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be
No.
capturing it as it is, and I
Yeah.
think that's
And it takes
more
away the
important than
joy
anything.
of it. Yeah, it takes away the joy
Yeah.
of what you're doing. I mean, how amazing, like we said before, we get to do this as jobs. Like it takes, if you're making this into something that you're idolizing, like it does take away that joy from the job itself. I feel like when I do feel that way, I feel like don't even want to do this because I'm like, well, this isn't even fun anymore. But then when I kind of like reassess and see like, okay, like kind of check my heart a little bit and like I want to be doing this for the right reasons and doing this for not my own like OCD about how everything looks on my feed or how everything looks like whatever. Like I really am doing this for the clients, and which I feel like I am like that. I feel like that's kind of what does set me apart from other people is I do feel like I really truly do like care about my clients and care like about the images and care about like giving them the best photos possible, but also creating beauty from things that aren't necessarily beautiful, like places that aren't necessarily like beautiful in a photo by itself. Like I had said before, like when I started photography at college, I was like in the middle of a cornfield in Ohio. Like I had literally I wasn't giving any favors when it
You
came to
didn't have a
locations.
you didn't have a lot to work
No,
with.
no. And so like people wanted photos that were like, beautiful, but it's like I really didn't have a lot to work with. I was like this is like a very like two stoplight town. Like there's no place really to get photos. And
It's
so
real
having to like
small.
and again, you can see the photos on my page and be like, "Oh wow, like these
I'm
were in
gonna do a big
Ohio."
stop
Yes.
whenever we're done here.
Yes.
I'm gonna go see them. I'm like, oh, yep, there's the Tessa. There's
There's
the
the
Ohio
Tessa.
cornfield. There it is.
Yes. And you're like, and I really didn't want to shoot in a cornfield, so like I really have to like figure this out. And creating that beauty out of things that aren't necessarily beautiful, finding beauty in God's creation, in places where like we as humans have kind of like torn down and kind of have made not as like noticeable, and shedding light on those places in those situations I think is the greatest talent you can have as a photographer, because again, anyone can shoot at a beautiful location. Anyone can shoot at Cannon Beach. Anyone can shoot, in Scotland.
In the
Anyone can
Dolomites,
shoot,
in
yeah.
anywhere.
Anyone
Yeah.
can shoot there and they're always going to look amazing. You could shoot on your phone and it would look amazing. But it's like, I think too, being a Midwest photographer, Michigan is beautiful. Where I live in Michigan is also beautiful, but in a different way. And I think people don't see it as beautiful all the time. And so being able to shoot here without going out to the west side of the state or going up north and still creating like beautiful photos, I think is a great talent to have, because you really, I mean, you're not given a lot. I guess the measure of your talent is like how much you can do with how little you're given, I think. And
And
I
finding
think
the
that,
beauty kind of in the mundane
yes,
too. Yeah.
absolutely. Like, because you said that like already, like things that you don't necessarily feel like are that interesting, and making them interesting and making them like, well, something people want to look at and like experience too in their own, and book you because they want to experience things that you have. Yeah.
100%. Like, I have a location that I like to shoot at. I think I was telling you about this earlier, but it's beautiful, guys. I love this place. It's this beautiful field. It's like these like rolling looking hills, but I'm telling you guys, this place was a landfill. Trash. It was a trash.
Yeah.
It was a landfill. And it's like,
crazy.
is that, would that be like it feels so weird talking about it every time. I'm like, guys, this was a landfill. And it has like all the things like in the field where they express the grass, and I like have to edit out. But like, is it
gosh.
literally rolling mountains?
Yeah.
Like a rolling looking mountain? Absolutely. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like, at the end of the day, it looks beautiful. Would you, and it's now like it's a park, it's not a landfill anymore. Like I don't think it's a working landfill anymore, but it was maybe at
Good.
one
Yeah.
point. It's a park, like it's an actual park, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
like just taking people to like a trash, trash filled
No.
place, I promise.
Well,
Um,
even if you were, it
but
looks great because you're doing a good job of it.
you guys wouldn't know. But
No.
so every time I have to like tell my clients like, so like this was a landfill and you're gonna see some things that like are like why, but
Hmm.
it's a public park and it's beautiful. But like, so my friend, she lives in the town that this park is in. And I was telling her one day, it was before I shot there, I was like, I really want to shoot here. Like, I think it would be so pretty. And she straight up looked at me and was like, no. That's like it was
Yeah.
we call it like
Take
trash
a dump.
mountain.
Yeah.
Like we literally it's
Mountain.
not a good place. They literally call it that. And like teenagers like they go and hang out there and like it's like a popular spot, right? But she was like, you really want to shoot here? And I was like, yes. And then I got to shoot there for the first time and I was like, this is exactly what I wanted, and it gave exactly what it needed to give without having to like hike up like a 15-mile hike in the mountains to go find this like beautiful open
No.
field like in western North Carolina. It's like it's my little pocket of the mountains in, not obviously the mountains, but for me, I looked at it and I was like that would be stunning for a location. But it's because my mind saw the beauty in something that might not necessarily be, beautiful to another
Right. Yeah.
person. And so it's like I think that's really important as photographers to be really mindful about how we are viewing just everything around us and knowing like, oh, that would be a beautiful spot for photos. And somebody else might be like, that's not it, guys. That's not it. And it's like, but for me it is. For me it is.
Yeah.
And I know that it would be awesome. And you just have to trust that process. So the last question that I thought we could wrap up with was somebody asked me what I feel like the hardest part about being a photographer is. And so I think that we can start with you for that question.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say definitely client like relationships and kind of growing your business and still having to deal with the social aspect of it because you can, be a great photographer, do all these things, but like having those relationships is very difficult. And I think that people that are so successful, that are in the main space that we all know, like that are so good at what they're doing, might not have the best client relationships. And like I think it's easy to see people online and be like, they're so good at photography, but then they're like kind of type B when it comes to like that back end side of like working with people. And I think you're gonna have issues when you're working with people no matter what job you have. I think customer service is so hard because people have like a lot of opinions, like we said before, asking for discounts, editing styles, like dealing with people at shoots and the before and after and all of that messaging and everything, having communication, like being accessible 24/7, even though we are not a 24/7 job, it's kind of treated that way, that we have to be like accessible all the time. And even if you have office hours, like what are those?
It does
Like
not matter.
who
What are
doesn't
office
matter.
hours?
No, there's no office
No.
hours. People can text you
No.
24/7, email you 24/7, and you're expected to respond immediately. And I think that kind of sets apart people who are, again, doing this as a hobby versus people who are doing this as like a job, because it's a hobby, you can kind of just ignore that and kind of just still do whatever you want. I think as a job, though, you really have to like stay on top of that. And I know that for me, that's the hardest part for me because I feel like I get very caught up in like the work itself, also just like being a mom, life, whatever. And
Just
I
life
know
in
like
general is hard.
in
Yeah.
general, it's hard. And I know I just got married back in August and I felt like I took some time off like before and after my wedding and felt like people acted like I killed someone. Like they were acting like I really just like, why?
How dare you get
How
married and
dare
take
you
a
get
break?
married? I know, and take a break and take off like a few weeks. And like nothing against like again, I have a great clients. Like I feel like I'm so blessed with people I have. Like I'm working with such
Yeah, me
amazing
too.
people and like the couples and like my wedding couples and just like regular couples and whoever, I feel like I have the best and it's so fun. But I think like at the same time, like you're gonna get a bad egg every so often and like it's just part of it. And I think that being able to like deal with that and not get discouraged or not like feel bad that you're like letting people down in a way, and still just like knowing like what you're doing is like the right thing, and like people are going to be upset no matter how you do things. Like we said before, like people are asking me for discounts when I was shooting $40 session shoots. Like people are always going to have a reason
They're
to be
just gonna do
upset.
that. Yeah.
That's just customer service. And so like you have to be able to like keep a smile on your face, like stay positive, stay excited about what you're doing, and still do a good job for difficult people, and like still like be excited about being a photographer, even though people might not always give you like the praise that you feel like you need or whatever. And
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
too, like having a baby, I feel like my break was a little bit more respected in that way, but I also didn't really advertise that as much because I didn't want like the backlash that I got when I had my wedding, which was kind of unfortunate. And I'm kind of,
Unfortunate that that
yeah,
experience kind of altered the way you thought about that time, where instead of it's like
I
I get to enjoy
know.
my newly married life, it's people hate me because I decided to get married and take a break and
I
like
know.
enjoy my enjoy my life.
I
That's
know, I
terrible.
know.
I'm
It's
so
so hard, and
sorry.
it's okay. Like it's fine. I understand too. Like I think like I should have handled it differently. Like I think I didn't handle it in the best way, where I should have just like been very firm from the beginning of like I'm getting married and like this is it. I think I was more like I'll try to fit this in, or I'll
And then your
try.
best
And then
was
people were like,
not
you
as
said you
yeah.
tried. Yeah, yeah. So I think that's the
Yeah,
hardest part,
it's
and
yeah.
yeah.
I would
Hmm.
agree that client experience and client relationships can be really difficult to manage. I think for me, something that I would say to anybody just who are you're new, you're experienced, just all of the above, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, we're just girls. We're just one person.
Yeah.
We're just handling every aspect of it. We're just
Yeah.
doing our
Hmm.
best every day. And I think to me that's the hardest part is
Hmm.
finding that balance of, you know, yeah, are clients emailing you at midnight? Sure. That does not mean you have to respond to them at midnight. Have your
No, yeah.
boundaries, have your time, be firm in the decisions that you're making, and know that at the end of the day, it is hard. It's a hard job. It's always going to be a hard job being your HR girl, your assistant, your, accountant, your social media girl, your content creator, and then doing all of the work on top of it is
Hmm.
always going to be hard. And I think just finding that balance is really important. But I do 100% agree that keeping client relationships and keeping your clients extremely happy can be not that I'm saying it's really challenging, but making sure that you're showing up for them while also showing up in every aspect of your life. Because I think as photographers, our entire life is this, and it's hard to separate
Yeah. Hmm.
work from your personal life when it's so intertwined because we're working all week long and then we're working on the weekends and it's really hard to have a
Yeah,
balance. At least for
no.
me, it's really
Hmm.
hard to have a balance. So,
Yeah.
well, I'm so grateful that you spent your day chatting with me, and I just love your work and I can't wait to see all the things that you continue to create. And I hope that you get your lake shoot because I must see that one.
Thank
I
you.
think
I
that
need
one
to see
looks
yours
so
as
good.
well. I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm so excited for that one. I hope that it like translate
Ah,
as I want it
it
to. But
will. It will.
I'm hoping it's in August, guys. Fingers crossed it's still in August when I get to do it. We had to reschedule
Yes.
it. So I'm really praying that like it happens and it happens the way that I want it to. So anyways, this was Real Talk with Soph, and I am so grateful for everyone if you're still here, and tune in for the next episode because the next person I have on is going to be really exciting. So yeah. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.